Good evening. I'm not running for anything, so don't vote for me. First off, I got to get this out of the way. One time I forgot to introduce my lovely wife, and I had to pay for that for quite a while. It cost me a purse or something like that. So my wife Saunders here. Together we've raised 5 lovely children, and the last one moved out about 2 months ago. It's like getting a raise. It's awesome. And apparently, if we don't get you-know-who out of the leadership of the country, I'm probably going to need that raise here at the end of the
I'm going to need that raise.
I'm here tonight to, like we talked about, kind of answer some of those questions that were posed. I'd like you to all hold your questions, though, because I've got a lot of information to get through. And I'm going to burn through it pretty quickly. Have time to answer questions at the end, and if you have questions after that, I'll be happy to stay around as long as you want and answer your questions for you. Obviously, the reason I'm here is because of the presentation back in July. Dick Callahan presented an extremely critical report on your fire department. The problem was that it was not very factual, and it had a lot of data presented in isolation of the facts. You know, since I've been attending your Tea Party meetings, I've actually been impressed. I'm behind you guys 100%. And I really think that the El Dorado Hills Fire Department has been driven by the same principles that you guys have been driven by: fiscal responsibility, limited government, responsible taxation. And that's what's been driving El Dorado Hills Fire Department for 49 years now. A lot of the information that was presented was pulled directly from the grand jury report. Now, there's some serious flaws with that, and I'm going to get into that right now. Every grand jury report has a reason for report. Why are they even doing this? Why are they investigating this organization? Our reason for report was a county official advised the grand jury that the El Dorado Hills Fire Department was overspending its budget. I want you to remember that. Overspending its budget despite receiving, and I want you to remember this, a disproportionate amount of property tax revenue. This county official never came forward, and I doubt they ever will. And your fire department, including myself, spent countless hours providing a fact-based response to that grand jury report. We presented that to the Honorable Judge Susan Kingsbury, and that response has been available for over a year now on our website and through the grand jury's website also. One thing I want to say about the grand jury report too is that if you're taking just one piece of the grand jury report, just the grand jury report itself, and you're not giving any credit to our response, what you're doing, and I think the judges in the audience can probably back me up on this, what you're doing is you are listening to the prosecution's argument and you're convicting the defendant before you even have a chance to listen to the defense's argument. And I got to tell you that the worst criminals in America get a better shake than that. So if you're going to read the grand jury report, please do so, but also read our response. A lot of inherent flaws in the grand jury report. First off, the grand jury gathered all their data through a one-page simple survey that they mailed out to multiple departments in the area. And they asked somebody at that department to fill that out and send it back in. Well, without a doubt, a lot of data came back very inaccurate. Inaccurate data led to flawed assumptions. Those flawed assumptions were the foundation for the 8 findings and the 12 recommendations that the grand jury levied upon our district. And I've got to ask you at this point, who do you really think the subject matter experts are? And I'm not trying to take anything away from the grand jury. I think they fill a good role, a good function. But I will guarantee you that they were not subject matter experts on running a fire department. It would be like me coming into your company, your organization, spending a day or so, and then giving you a report on how I think you should do your work. Now, I also have to say that the grand jury never came in and talked to us about why are you doing this, why is this way, or anything like that. So who are the subject matter experts? You know, the fire service has been around for over 275 years. Many of you probably don't know it was invented by Ben Franklin back in 1736. I think it was the 3rd time Philadelphia burnt down. They finally decided they probably ought to do something about it, so they developed the fire department. Your El Dorado Hills Fire Department chief officers and your board of directors alone have over 200 years of service. I think we need a little credit to let you know that we're doing the right thing. And I only show you this, and I apologize for the quality of the slide. It's a scan of a fax of a copy of a whatever. But this is the totality of the grand jury's information that they pulled from that one-page survey. They filled out their spreadsheet, and then they made their recommendations and assumptions against us. What I want you to pay attention to is all of the red that's on that sheet like a rash. What we did is we went out and got the actual legal documents for each of those departments. And we spent a lot of time filling this sheet in with the proper information, not just somebody filling it out when they got the form in the mail. Everything in red was wrong. Some by a little, a lot by a lot. So I think you can see where that inaccuracies could come from. I asked you to remember overspending our budget. I went back to 2000, but I can guarantee you it's just as good all the way back for the rest of the 49 total years we've been in business. Blue is budget, that's what we budgeted for. Green is actual. I challenge you in there anywhere to find out where we spent more than what we budgeted for. Now we've got a couple peaks in there, and what we did there is, as El Dorado Hills was rapidly growing, through a lot of planning and a lot of foresight, we built stations to keep up with the growth and to continue the excellent service that we've provided for 49 years now. I want to tell you too that when we did that, Station 85, we bought the land, we built the station, we put the equipment in there, we bought the engine, and we paid cash for that. When we built Station 87, we did exactly the same thing, spiked the budget a little bit, it was all budgeted for. We paid cash for all that, from savings that we'd saved over the years, knowing that we were going to have to keep up with the demand as El Dorado Hills was growing. I also asked you to remember the statement about receiving a disproportionate amount of property tax revenue. Well, in 2010, there was an independent Citygate report that was commissioned by the Board of Supervisors and LAFCO, the Local Agency Formation Commission. In that report, the summary is there were 3 departments. Well, they evaluated all 10 West Slope fire departments in El Dorado County on their ability to provide adequate 24/7, 365-day fire and emergency medical services to their communities. Departments that were determined to be appropriately funded to provide average to above average service, there were only 3, Cameron Park, Diamond Springs, and El Dorado Hills. Departments classified as stretched services due to lower than adequate funding, rescue, and El Dorado County Fire. And then those departments classified as unstable due to inadequate funding, 5 of them, Garden Valley, Mosquito, Pioneer, Latrobe, and Georgetown. So I guess you could say there is a little bit of truth in that statement, that we do receive a disproportionate amount of property tax compared to stretched services or unfunded. And I don't think El Dorado Hills residents want those 2 types of services. So let's talk real quick about your property tax dollar. We get a piece of the general, of your general property tax from your assessed value on your home. That percentage ends up to be 17.5% of that 1% that you pay in property tax. Your CSD gets about 10%. Schools get 35.5%. And 28.5% rolls up the hill to the county. And for you guys that are quick at math, there's another 8.5% in there that goes to a dozen different little teeny agencies I didn't bother putting in. One thing I'm going to point out is that the money that goes to your CSD and the money that goes to your fire department for El Dorado Hills residents, at least that money stays here for El Dorado Hills residents. All the rest of that money gets washed out up the hill. So those monies that you pay for those services stay right here for you. Let's talk about that just a little bit more. Our residential property tax revenue for 2011-2012 ended up being $10.6 million. There are 14,325 homes on the rolls in El Dorado Hills. That comes out to an average per home of $740 a year is what average you pay. Some pay more, some pay less, about $740 a year average. That comes out to be about $62 a month. And I'm going to guarantee that most of us probably pay more than that for coffee at Starbucks in a month, every morning. And I know you pay more than that I know you pay more than that for your EID, PG&E, car insurance, cable, internet, so on and so forth. And I guarantee you that none of those agencies I just mentioned are going to be at your door between 4 and 8 minutes of you calling, no matter what emergency you find yourself facing. I also wanted to point out that that is 24/7, 365. Christmas, Thanksgiving, 3 o'clock in the morning, Saturday, Sunday, that service is there for you. So let's really talk fiscal responsibility. El Dorado Hills Fire Department has no debt. We own all the land, stations, and equipment. We've paid cash for that all along the way. Unlike many other districts, we have no additional assessments, fees, or bonds. Unlike many neighboring districts, we have no brownouts or closures of our stations in these tough financial times. And we have $21.8 million in the bank to carry us through. Now, there's a lot of talk about funded and unfunded liabilities and everything like that. And this is an extremely difficult topic that could take hours to really break down for you. What I can tell you is that what it comes from is two agencies, CalPERS, Public Employees Retirement System, and then the Retiree Medical Benefits. It's also kind of tied to CalPERS. Now, what I can tell you is that we pay and have paid 100% of our annual recommended contribution to both of those accounts every year as set by the Government Accounting Standards Board, GASB. That is confirmed every year on our annual audit.